I spent 8 years drunk before realizing other families don't live this way. My mom started giving me wine with dinner when I was 10. Just a little bit, she'd say, handing me a glass that was maybe a quarter full. It helps you relax after a long day at school. My dad would pour himself whiskey and my older sister Emma would get wine too. And we'd all sit at the table in this comfortable haze while mom talked about her day. By the time I was 12, I was drinking every single night. Sometimes at lunch on weekends too. Mom always had a bottle ready, always encouraged me to finish my glass. If I said I didn't want any, she'd get this tight look on her face and say I seemed stressed, that I needed to unwind. The weird thing is, I thought this was completely normal. I figured every family did this. Every kid drank with their parents. It never occurred to me to question it. Looking back now, there were so many things I should have noticed, like how our house had 3 rooms that stayed locked all the time. The spare bedroom on the 2nd floor, the office in the basement, and the storage room off the garage. I asked about them once when I was 13, and Dad just said they were full of boring adult stuff and changed the subject, or how people would show up at odd hours. I'd be in my room at 11 at night, fuzzy and sleepy from the wine, and hear the doorbell, voices in the hallway, the sound of the garage door opening and closing. When I asked who was visiting so late, Mom would say it was just a neighbor dropping something off. The phone rang constantly too. Mom or Dad would answer it, talk in quiet voices, then disappear into one of those locked rooms for 20 minutes. Emma seemed to notice this stuff too, but whenever I brought it up, she'd just shrug and pour herself more wine. I failed 8th grade because I couldn't concentrate. The school called home about my grades and my mom cried, but then gave me extra wine that night to help me cope with the disappointment. The counselor wanted to meet with my parents, but they kept canceling, saying they were too busy with work. When I was 15, I spent the night at my friend Jake's house for the first time. His parents made dinner and we all sat down to eat, and I kept waiting for them to bring out the wine, but they just served water and juice. Jake and his little brother drank Coke. I asked where the alcohol was and Jake's mom laughed like I'd made a joke. She said they didn't drink on weeknights. I stared at her, confused, trying to figure out if she was serious. "You don't give Jake wine with dinner?" I asked. The laughter stopped. Jake's parents exchanged a look I didn't understand. His mom asked very carefully if my parents gave me alcohol regularly. I said, of course, every night since I was 10. Didn't everyone do that? Jake's dad left the table and made a phone call in the other room. His mom sat down next to me and asked questions in this gentle voice that made my stomach hurt. How much did I drink? How often? Did my parents ever refuse to let me skip it? I spent 3 days at Jake's house, and by the 2nd day without any wine, my hands were shaking. I had headaches. I felt sick and anxious. Jake's mom took me to a doctor who said I was going through withdrawal. He asked if my parents were home and if he could talk to them. I gave him our number and he called. Mom answered, and he explained that I was at his office, that I was showing signs of alcohol dependence. There was a long silence. Then my mom's voice got really cold and she said she'd be right there to pick me up. When Mom arrived, she didn't take me home. She drove to a gas station and we sat in the parking lot while she stared straight ahead. Her hands gripped the steering wheel so tight her knuckles were white. She said I'd made a serious mistake, that I'd told people things I had no business sharing, that there were consequences for talking about family business with outsiders. When I asked what she meant, she finally looked at me. And that's when I saw what was really in those locked rooms. The rest of the story is linked below or on my channel.